Hi, this is Alice from FutureGirl.com, and we're going to do the bottom row number 2. So the first thing you do is the chain, which I actually did at the end of the last video. So we finished row 1, chained 1, now we're going to turn everything clockwise, and the last single crochet we made in row 1 is now where we're going to make our first stitch of row 2. And actually in this one stitch we're going to make 3 single crochets in this stitch where the stitch marker is. And these 3 single crochets are our corner of the bottom. Now the marker I've been using is going to be the corner marker. So I'm going to put that in single crochet number 2. But I kind of want to know where the first and last stitch of the row are, because we do that slip stitch connect thing. So I'm going to put a green stitch marker in that very first single crochet. So we've made 3 single crochets in the first stitch. The first one is marked with green and the corner is marked with red. This is just something I do, but when I'm marking the beginning and the end of a row, because I'm connecting them, I always use green for go. It's just my thing. So things like that help just remind me why I'm using that green stitch marker. Okay, so we've made the 3, and now we're just going to make our single crochets across. Do you guys do weird things like that? Like use a certain color stitch marker to mean a certain thing across different projects? Or am I the only one? Alright, let's see here. Okay, so when we get to our next stitch marker, this is going to be another corner. So we're going to make 3 single crochets in this stitch. Oh, did I do that out of frame? I'm sorry, if I did that out of frame, I made 3 single crochets in the stitch that has a stitch marker. I'm going to take my stitch marker out, and it goes in the middle of those 3. And the reason that it goes in the middle is because the next corner is going to be stacked in the middle of these 3 stitches. So that's why we keep moving it to the middle one. Now we're to the chain stitch that we used to get across the bottom. You could just go under the chain stitch, but I like to only catch the 2 top strands of yarn that make the top, the B of the chain. It's just my preference. Do 1 single crochet there, and now we're at our next stitch marker, which is a corner. So we're going to make 3 single crochets in this stitch, and going to move that stitch marker to the middle of those 3, and now we're doing 1 single crochet in each of the stitches across until we get to the very last stitch marker. And in this last stitch marker, ta-da, we're going to do 3 single crochets. I'm going to move our stitch marker to the middle of those 3, and this last of the 3 is actually the last stitch of this row, row number 2. So we're going to put a green stitch marker in there just to let us know this is the last single crochet. Now we're going to connect to the first single crochet of the row, the green one, and you can see like this mess of stitches here. If I didn't have a stitch marker, I would have less of an idea of where the first stitch was, and it just makes it easier to have a marker in it for me. So I'm going to slip a stitch to the first single crochet, and we have completed row number 2. Ta-da! See you in the next episode.